If I'm an advocate for anything, it is to move as far as you can, as much as you can, across the ocean or just simply across the river. The extent to which you can walk in someone else's shoes is a plus for everyone. Open your mind, get up off the couch, move. How many of you have heard of this quote by Anthony Bourdain? For many of us millennials, he was the OG traveler, the one who inspired us to travel more and get out of our comfort zone. I was in Sarajevo, Bosnia, when I heard of his passing, a city that was not initially on my list, a last-minute addition, because a lot of people had warned me about going to a war-torn country. I look around me. From a cafe atop a tower overlooking the city, the war has been over for more than 20 years. But there's a calmness that cannot be described. Yes, the remnants of war are still there in the walls and streets of Sarajevo. And that's when it struck me. It is a misunderstood place. For many of us, we see such places only through the eyes of the media. And what traveling around the world has taught me is that life in these countries is completely different from our preconceived perspectives. And that's one of the most important lessons I've learned as a traveling entrepreneur, is to keep an open mind and listen to the perspectives of people around me. As someone who's on the road for more than 150 days every year, some of the best lessons in life has been from the road. And what better place to learn them other than from the road? So like I said, my first advice to all of you is, as an entrepreneur and a traveler, is to keep an open mind and really listen to the people in your life.
Yeah.
So how many of you have traveled outside India? Show of hands? Yeah. So you know how difficult it is to apply for visas as a brown Indian traveler. So that brings me to one of the many immigration stories that I have. I was traveling from Skopje in North Macedonia to Sofia in Bulgaria by bus. Two Eastern European countries, which were not part of the Schengen zone back in 2022. Currently, Bulgaria is part of the Schengen zone. So if you're doing immigration between two countries which are not part of the Schengen zone, you have to first go to the first immigration point, get down from the bus, clear immigration, then they let you back on the bus, then you go to the next immigration point. So the North Macedonia side went completely fine, but the Bulgarian side was a completely different matter because they didn't know what to do with my passport. And then began the extensive questioning. In the middle of winter, in the freezing cold, for almost 30 to 40 minutes in the freezing cold. And it started, like, why do you want to enter Bulgaria? Why have you come? Show us each and every booking that you have. I was still on week 3 of my 6-week trip in Eastern Europe, and I had to show bookings for each and every single day. Now, I'm usually prepared when I'm traveling, so I had all my documents. And because they couldn't find any reason not to let me in, I was allowed inside Bulgaria. Now that is something, again, travel has taught me. It will throw curveball after curveball, especially if you're someone who travels as much as I do. And figuring out solutions on the go has enabled me as an entrepreneur to quickly think on my feet. Everyone will panic when something doesn't go their way. You're allowed to panic, but maybe because I've been through so many situations like this, I'm usually calm. I know my husband will be laughing in the audience saying that, when is this woman ever calm? But jokes apart, I would say, yes, please do panic, you're allowed to panic, but you need to get out of that panic-stricken mode and then think with a calm mind about how you can fix that solution that you're facing, and you can succeed as an entrepreneur. A lot of people ask me, are you not scared of traveling solo? And I tell them to act cool. No, I'm not scared of traveling solo. After all, I've been to more than 50 countries on my own and around 70 overall. But that's just a facade I put up, because traveling solo has been one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life. But the joy of conquering that fear, the sense of fulfillment I get from conquering that fear, is what makes me do it all over again and again. As someone, everyone has fear is a part of their life. I am someone who's terrified of heights. But despite that, I have done skydiving, I've gone scuba diving, paragliding, parasailing, anything ziplining, a lot of things that are associated with height, so that I can conquer that fear. And that's the same thing in my entrepreneurial journey as well, because there have been so many instances that I've been scared of doing something. But travel has helped me to push me out of that comfort zone. And because it has helped me to push out of that comfort zone, I'm able to conquer the fear, even though it is something I have not done ever in my life. And that is one of the most important lessons I've learned. So a few years ago, when I did not get the Schengen visa duration that I wanted, I had to add Albania to the list. And my husband was furious. He was like, why are you going to such an unsafe country? In the end, I did manage to convince him, and I ended up going to Albania, and Albania remains one of my favorite countries that I have road tripped in. But a very funny incident happened the day I landed in Tirana, Albania. A guy asked me, so does your husband give you permission to travel? I get asked this question a lot, especially when I'm traveling solo. And I'm annoyed a lot also. Why, you may ask? Because it is the 21st century. Are we as women still expected to get permission from the men in the family? And you may argue, yeah, traveling alone as a woman is not safe. But I am someone who believes that if you take enough precautions and you do not do something way too stupid, you can also travel solo. You can go where you want to go. Now, as a woman entrepreneur, I face a lot of challenges that are unique because of my gender. Because no one asks male entrepreneurs, why are you not staying back to take care of your family? I keep getting asked, why are you leaving your husband to take care of the house? It is his house too, he can take care of it. But if you're able to shut out the noise that misogyny and patriarchy keeps throwing at us at every instance in our life, we are sure we can also find success as a woman entrepreneur. A few years ago, my husband got an opportunity to work in Mexico for a few months, and I also ended up joining him after a month. We were newly married, and for someone who has always been around some kind of family or the other, going halfway across the world was something that was very difficult for me, because I did not know anyone other than my husband, who was always working. And you know what helped? Or who helped? The people of Mexico. I know Mexicans have got a very notorious reputation of being dangerous and unsafe. But for this new bride who was traveling halfway across the world, they were there for me. And despite the language barriers, I was able to have so many meaningful conversations with so many Mexicans across the country. As one of a twin, I have always been an ambivert. I had never claimed to be an extrovert anytime soon. But traveling around the world and interacting with locals from all spheres of life has helped me be a better communicator. It has helped me foster meaningful relationship. And that's another lesson for my entrepreneurial journey, because it helps me to network with the right set of contacts, which is very crucial. They also say this, people around the world who have never traveled will tell you, oh, don't go and interact with someone there. They're dangerous. But traveling has made me more empathetic, because I would like to receive the same kindness that I receive from people around the world. I would like to give the same kind of kindness. And empathy is a very crucial skill for every entrepreneur. And for the last story of the day, one of my favorite experiences in life has been growing up in Tanzania, Africa, and the many trips that we did around the region. So this was the late 90s. I was still a kid. Easter vacations. So we decided to go to a safari national park called Ruaha National Park. So Ruaha National Park was around 10 to 12 hours from Dar es Salaam, where we were staying in. So the plan was to go to another town called Iringa and stay the night and proceed to Ruaha the next day. So by we, I mean my parents, me, and my two sisters, along with a few other families. Now the second day started quite well. But in the middle of the journey, one of the vehicles broke down. Imagine this, you're in Africa, in the middle of nowhere, at a time when despite having mobiles, none of the mobiles worked outside the main cities. And we were stuck on a road where maybe one vehicle passed by every few hours. So one of the drivers remarked, look, Ruaha is not very far off from where we are right now. So the adults in the group decided to split up. So the women and children were sent in the first batch, and the vehicle was supposed to come back and pick up the second batch. My dad was driving the car, so he was going and dropping us, and then he was coming back to pick up the second set, which included mostly adults, included my mom and my twin sister, who was the only kid in the second group. Now, when we got to the safari park entrance, that is when we realized the place where we were staying was a lot further than what we had calculated, which meant that we were going to take a lot more time. And we had no way of communicating to the second group who was stuck in the middle of the nowhere. And we are also faced with an additional conundrum. We had to get back before 6 p.m. because all safari national parks in Africa, they usually close at 6 p.m. After that, you're not allowed inside because of the wild animals. It was a very eventful day, very, very long story. But by the time the second set got back, all of us in the first set were in tears, especially the 8-year-old younger sister who was convinced by her very naughty friends that our parents wouldn't make it in time. Now, I don't remember the fun we had or the animals we saw the next day. But the only thing I remember is this incident, this journey is still etched in my memory almost 25 plus years later. And that's something I talk to you as an entrepreneur as well. Yes, it is important to have a goal in life, but if you're not able to enjoy the journey, you're not able to understand the sacrifices you made or the joy you felt at every single task you accomplished, you will not enjoy this entrepreneurial journey. Yes, focus on the destination, but focus on the journey as well. Now, if I keep talking about you, I will keep talking about all the lessons that traveling has taught me as an entrepreneur. But since we don't have time for that, it has made me resourceful, resilient, adaptable, empathetic, fearless, a lot more things. But it has made me passionate. I know a lot of you young folks would aspire to be doctors or work in the field of AI or be artists or dancers. Whatever you are, please be passionate about it. And if you are as passionate about it as I am, about my traveling and my entrepreneurial journey, you will find success wherever you go. Thank you. I'm Samya Nambia signing off. Hope you all have a great day.